Okay, we'll get started here. Boy, you talk about a hard act to follow, huh? Jeez. Those kids are wonderful, and they're wonderful teachers. It takes a lot of patience to work with all those young people, and my hat goes out and I congratulate the teachers at Headstart. We are proud to have so many people here who help make this day happen. As I look out and I see state, national, local partners who've come together to provide an incredible opportunity for Springfield's youngest citizens. Educare Springfield, it's here. This is a clear demonstration that we are investing in the education of the children beginning at birth. The Davis Foundation has made an intentional commitment since 2004 to the important work of advocating for and supporting the opportunity for high-quality early childhood education for Springfield's children. We have listened to the economist James Heckman here in Springfield a number of years ago, who told us that there's a 13% economic return in investing in early childhood education. Our work since then has brought us to this important day. We are fortunate today to have with us Lieutenant Governor Karen Pulido. She and the governor have been staunch champions for children. They have been critical partners and supporters on this project, and I can safely say without them, we would not be here today. This time, I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Governor Karen Pulido. Karen.
Well, what a way to start the week. This is a wonderful beginning, and I just want to make sure everybody saw these wonderful cards, because this is what it's all about. So, thank you very much. You're thanking Charlie and I, but we're thanking you as a community for everything that you're doing to strengthen this community and build this community for her future. Governor Baker would be here, but he is in Lawrence this morning, and we had obviously a lot to do to care for the families and people in the Lawrence, Andover, North Andover area over the weekend, and we have a long way to go. But as I come here this morning, I think 7 years ago, when this neighborhood was challenged by a major disaster with a tornado ripping through and literally changing lives and changing the landscape of this place. And that's exactly what's happening in the Merrimack Valley as we speak. But one of the reasons why I wanted to come on behalf of our team is to give hope to this community. Because 7 years ago, when you were at this place, Mr. Mayor, it would be hard to think or realize that 7 years later, you would have a private investor down the street with $1 billion in the MGM facility, thousands of jobs, everyday visitors coming to this city to see what's happening there, 2 million square feet of entertainment space. And in this neighborhood now, a proper and wonderful state-of-the-art education lab, one of 25 in the nation and the only one here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I also want to thank Mayor Sarno for his leadership, not only for this city, but as a leader in this Commonwealth. One of the first calls the governor received after Thursday night's event was from the mayor, reaching out to the governor, reaching out to Mayor Rivera, offering his support and dispatching some of your own emergency responders, police and fire, to help Lawrence. The emergency responders who keep our neighborhoods and communities safe are doing their part. They're exceptional people. And as the mayor has seen and governor and I have seen firsthand, they don't stop. They're always there. and they have been a tremendous source of support for the people, not only here, but in Lawrence and the Merrimack Valley over the weekend. Today is a really important day to celebrate a few things. These partners, the private sector partners, and including the major partner in the Davis Foundation, I personally, on behalf of our administration, want to thank John and Steve Davis for your commitment to this program. For your commitment to this program and your commitment to education in general and specifically here in Springfield. What you've done with the Empowerment Zone, bringing a state-of-the-art ability to educate the students here that have unique challenges and families that have unique challenges in a way that works for you is really pioneering. And to be able to attract Educare here to this neighborhood is really incredible. And it took leaders like you to make it known to them that this is the community where you want to have this education lab, where you want to have this school, and be able to educate children from birth to 5 years old and then transition them into beautiful new neighborhood school, and then beyond to other partners like Springfield Tech and your community colleges and state colleges in this university. What you're doing is rebuilding this neighborhood, because these are children who are born here, literally, starting their education here, and then being part, eventually, the hope is, the workforce that will then become employed here in this neighborhood or nearby, and then lay their own roots and create the next generation of talent, of leaders, really bringing this city forward to where we all know it can be. So this is really a terrific investment. And for our administration to be a part of this is quite an honor. And I know that in our capital budget plan, and we want to thank our legislative colleagues for your commitment as well, to the Early Education and Out of School Time Capital Fund, we were able to include $4 million in our capital budget and be able to contribute $1 million to this facility through that fund. Since taking office, we've contributed $19 million in capital funds to 25 programs in early education across this Commonwealth, and we will continue to do that because it's working and it's important. I also want to just acknowledge the educators who are either here today at this celebration or in a classroom here in this city or in classrooms across our Commonwealth in early education. We, as an administration, made it a priority to give the largest rate increase in the history of our Commonwealth to early educators. This was a nearly $80 million adjustment in an investment in early educators, early education educators. This is in order to stabilize and reinforce and attract more individuals to want to choose education careers, to helping children at their earliest ages get the support and the education they need, which is the foundation to the success in their lives. So we feel that this will be a catalyst to invite more people to choose this line of work. While we know that this rate increase is just the beginning, it doesn't solve the challenge. It's truly an investment and truly an indication of our commitment to professionals, to teachers that do this really important work every single day. So while we invest in this beautiful building that will be home to classrooms in about a year, we also know that investing in people, investing in children is important, and investing in places like this are critical. We have Secretary Jay Ash here from Economic Development, who has traversed the state alongside of the governor and me and others in our administration, looking for places to invest. And in a neighborhood like this, we are pleased to announce $1 million out-of-round MassWorks grant to build out the infrastructure that you don't see because it's typically underground, but critically important to allowing a structure like this to be developed and built in this neighborhood on this parcel of land. And we know that in our travels, we've invested millions of dollars in MassWorks grant and other neighborhoods in this city, bringing needed market rate housing to your downtown, and other critical investments in buildings and places throughout the city. We're just a partner. You know, we are a partner with the city. The collaboration between the state and the city is so critical. The collaboration with the private sector is so critical. And I really describe this as the Massachusetts way. This is the way we do business in this Commonwealth. We work together. We find collaborations. We find common ground. And we find the ability to get to yes. When the Davises put this marker down and the mayor put this marker down, that we cannot miss this opportunity to get Educare to this neighborhood, to this city, we understood the magnitude of that challenge, and we figured out a way to get there, cobbling together our state resources, doing our part along with all of you makes this day possible. I just want to say these notes are coming back to the State House as an inspiration and a reminder for us to keep doing more of this because it works. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of what this city is doing. I'm proud of this mayor. I'm proud of this Commonwealth. So congratulations. God bless you all, and keep doing what you're doing. It's extraordinary.
Well, thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Mayor of Springfield, Dominic Sarno. Dominic. He is also a champion for children, and I don't say that lightly. He has served the city well for many years and has always had education a priority. Dominic?
Thank you, John, very much. Well, I think when you look at Merriam-Webster, the dictionary, which is another Springfield first here in the city of Springfield, under education and caring, you see the Davis Foundation. So to John and Steve and Mary, Sally, the whole crew, let's give them a big round of applause. I don't know about you, but it's a little warm, so I took my jacket off. And also to Lieutenant Governor Pulido and Governor Baker, Secretary Ash. They have been outstanding partners and friends to the city of Springfield, whether it's in education, economic development, public safety. Not only a phone call away, they're here all the time, and they've been very, very helpful to me to helping the city of Springfield move forward. So I want to give you a big round of applause. Thank you very much. I also want to thank my colleagues in government that are here. I know there's Representative Bud Williams is here. Bud, thank you for being here. Representative Angelo Pulido, Senator Eric Lesser, School Committee Woman Latonia Naylor, School Committee Woman Barbara Gresham, City Councilor Melvin Edwards, Commissioner, it's also good. Where is the Commissioner? It's also very good to see you here. I hope I didn't miss anybody. If I did, it's a mistake. The mind, not of the heart, as Mayor Sullivan would say. I'm sorry? Oh, Marvina from Representative Tizato's office, and City Council President Orlando Ramos is here, too. Okay. Got them all. You know, you think back 7 years ago, what occurred in this neighborhood, and the resiliency kept us going 24/7 to rebuild bigger, better, and stronger. But to myself, and the superintendent, Dan Warwick, and his administration, and the school committee and the school administration, on the forefront has always been early education. And I know the superintendent's here. Dan, could you please stand up? Let's give him a big round of applause. He has been cutting edge with the Davis Foundation and then working with the state. This is another Springfield first, the Empowerment Zone, which we have, which collaborates with what is being done fantastically in our public school system with some flexibility at charter and working with our business community is another first. Educare being another first. And I remember when I took over as mayor well over a decade ago, one of the first, and I am running for re-election in 2019 too. Let it be heard and let it be said right now. One of the first conferences I was invited to from John and Steve Davis was on early education. And it showed, without question, the more money you put on on the front end, the better you're going to get on the final end with our students and young people. And I saw that we have partnered. We took over the Early Childhood Center, Superintendent I and my TJ Plant, my CAFO, and being able to put down a public-private partnership. Headstart, the godmother of Headstart, Janice Santos is here. Let's give her a round of applause. The Y, Square One, and the Springfield Public School Systems, where we've been able to put well over 250 more slots there. And I run into parents and Attorney Davis when you hear her speak. I'm so proud of her. She works for me now in the law department as city attorney, and she's going to speak as far as being a Head Start parent. But we saw when you run into parents, grandparents, family members saying, hey, thank you. Thanks, Don. Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Sarno. Thanks, Superintendent Warwick. I'm able now to go out to support myself and support my family because I know my children are going to get an educational, nurturing, and caring environment that's being put forth. The last thing I'll say, too, any urban mayor in America, he or she is going to tell you, if you're going to continue to knock down the vicious cycle of poverty and public safety issues, 3 things are needed. 1, family, a familia, which sometimes is tough to get involved in. 1A, education, education. And 1B, jobs. Put our people to work. Educare is a significant investment here in the city of Springfield, and it's another public and private partnership with everybody working together for the same goal for our children. Giving them foundation is going to allow them and their families to be able to avoid poverty, to avoid public safety issues. You just can't put a price tag on that. So to all our generous benefactors, including government, whether state government, on our side, on the city, on the private sector, this is a win-win opportunity. And many people are looking at the city of Springfield now, not only locally and regionally in the state, but nationwide for the cutting-edge programs that we're putting forth. And I know many a times urban centers are depicted in a very negative way, but I'll tell you this, and I'll continue to champion this call with a clarion call. There are good people, good families of all creed, colors, and backgrounds right here in the city of Springfield that produce each and every day to make sure Springfield continues to prosper. I appreciate your continued belief and investment in the city of Springfield, more importantly, in the human spirit. Educare, welcome to Springfield, continued success, and let's move forward for all our children. God bless you all. Thank you.
Good morning. Wow, I'm nervous. There's too many people here, but we're happy you're here. The kids were nervous. I'm nervous. I'm Mary Wallachy, and I have the privilege of being the executive director of the Davis Foundation. And I want to take some time, and I'm going to try to do this quickly, but something like this doesn't happen without a lot of people rowing in the same boat. And I want to try to walk through a little bit of what's happened since we started on this vision, frankly, in 2015. And to start off, I do want to introduce our state representative, the state representative that is responsible for representing this neighborhood, Bud Williams.
Thanks, Mary. First of all, let's send prayers out to Merrimack Valley and the folks down there and remember them, and also to people still in Puerto Rico, and also people down in Florence on the North Carolina coast. Thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. And I do have the pleasure, first of all, welcome to the 11th Hamden District. Thank you. But I do want to recognize my colleagues because this is a team effort from the Senate side, the House side, and the governor. We have a tremendous governor. So Eric Lester did the heavy lifting on the Senate side, and Angelo Pulido did the heavy lifting on the House side. So I want to give them great round of applause. Thank you. You know, as I walked this project, and first of all, to my dear friend of 20 years, I've been in this battle with Head Start, bringing the first Head Start to Springfield. As Ted Kennedy used to call her, the most tremendous Head Start director in the whole wide world. Janice! Thank you, Janice! I can still remember Ted Kennedy. I still remember that voice. You know, and hats off to the Baker Pulido administration. But I got a little different spin. I walked this neighborhood on Saturday and Sunday. And thanks, Mayor, we're paving Easton Avenue. We're doing the streets over here. And when to the Davis Foundation and to Educare, to Head Start, and to especially to Sally and Mary. Sally and Mary show. Right on. Mary Wallach and Sally for Let's Get It. And Sally told me she was retired, John. I don't know how this is. Are you really retired, or they tricked you, Sally? As we met with the governor on Wednesday, the Black Latino Caucus, I told the governor about the project, and he had planned to come until the unfortunate incident came up. And I said, you know, Governor, and this is how we talk. This is a tale of two states. We have a thriving state. Seaport, Boston, downtown Springfield is doing tremendous. Then we have neighborhoods. And I'm so excited this project is in a neighborhood. As I talked to citizens on yesterday and on Saturday, they didn't know what was going on. They're just walking by and casually I said, well, they're going to build a school. They said, that's great and that's fantastic. So the same things that exist in downtowns all over the state, we have to do in neighborhoods. Because sometimes they don't reap the benefits of things happening in Seaport or even downtown Springfield. They don't realize, they don't recognize it. So projects like this become symbols. They become symbolic of being involved and connected. And as the mayor alluded to, upfront investment. Representative Swan used to always talk about putting a youth commission, which I hope we eventually will get to, where we can put all the youth under one umbrella. It probably costs, depending on who you talk to, $55,000 to $75,000 to incarcerate somebody in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. You could go to Harvard for 1 year for that amount of money. An investment like this up front, peanuts in comparison. So the old commercial, you pay me now, you pay me later, because what tends to happen is that as folks get older and older and older and older, they get trapped in the system, and let me tell you, when they get 16, 17, 18, and 19, it's kind of hard to turn them around. You can turn them around. It's kind of difficult to turn around. But when they're that age, when they come up, and you start to work with them, this is when you work them, you mold them, you kind of like put them in the right direction. We have to invest up front. I'm so excited, and to Jay Ash, who's a phenomenal. We used to say that the governor spent a lot of time now. The lieutenant governor, Jay's out here quite often, too. So thank you, Secretary Ash. So my only point being is that it's the upfront investment. And we cannot forget the citizens who are marginalized. There are a lot of people who are marginalized, who don't really feel the Massachusetts economic impact, the height that we have. But when you do things like this and you put it in the community where they can see it, they can touch it, and they can feel it, it goes a long way, Mayor, when we start to talk to the community in terms of us involving the whole city. So congratulations to Educare, to Davis Foundation, and to my dear friend, Janet Santos, she came with the first, also to Barbara Gresham, Old Hill Neighborhood Council, and somebody else I want to recognize from the Upper Hill Council. Was she here? Adrian Osborne, thank you. Those are the neighborhood councils. We met with Janice and the Davis Foundation Educare way up front, got on board early because I recognize education is very important. So thank you, ladies, for spearheading the community. Thank you. This is a tremendous day. I don't know where Educare is. I hope this is not the last one, but maybe it is. For Danny, you're going to have to start building them now.
Thank you, Representative Williams. So I'm going to try to make a 5-year story a short story, and I'm not sure how well I'm going to do with that. But I do want to make you aware that we did start on this journey several years ago. And frankly, early in, we decided we didn't think Springfield could afford this project. It requires the building of a brand new building, and it requires that the classrooms are extremely high quality with added teachers in the classroom, extra coaches coaching 4 classrooms at a time, and also increased parent engagement and parent liaisons. And so, frankly, we walked away at one point. And then just through a series of sort of really awesome coincidences, we became aware of an anonymous donor who is not from the state of Massachusetts, who was interested in helping a community build an Educare. And she, it is a she, that's all we know, offered to provide half of the funding to build this building. That has resulted in a gift of over $9.6 million towards this project. And so we, as John sort of said, and Steve, I think this is an opportunity we can't refuse, or at least we better figure out if we can refuse it. And so we set on a path, particularly with our support from the Buffett Early Childhood Fund. Michael Burke is our best friend. Michael, stand up, please, or wave. We talked to Michael, and Mr. Mayor, here's what we said. Why not Springfield, right? Why not Springfield? I know you do. And so Michael and all of his partners at the Early Learning Network, and we'll introduce the executive director shortly, have been coming to town, working with us, and struggling, frankly, to make sure that we could make this happen. We then tapped into our wonderful superintendent, Dan Warwick, and Pat Roach, who are both here today. They've been meeting with us, and we needed to work with Headstart, and I'll talk about Janice when I introduce her. We needed a Headstart partner, and we also needed some land, and I'll talk about the land that we're on in a minute. When I introduced Springfield College. And so it seemed like we were going to get going. It seemed like this was going to happen. And at the same time, we still didn't have enough money to build the building. Whoa, we knew that was going to happen too. We can just leave that down. And so I called on a couple of very smart people in town, Jack Dill from Colbert Corporation and Paul Stelzer from the O'Connell Development Group, and said, you guys know about new market tax credits. We know nothing about new market tax credits. Can you help us? And ultimately, it resulted in a tremendous phone call from Pat Sluter at Mass Development with the leadership of our Secretary of Economic Housing and Economic Development, Secretary Ash, and his entire team. And we were able to capture an allocation of new market tax credits for this project that will net us somewhere in the vicinity of $3.5 million. I want to just give a quick shout out to the others, certainly Pat Sluter, but also Lauren Liss, Naomi Baruch, who's here, and Robert Rizzo, who I believe is also here, for all the hard work, as well as the team at Davis. I really needed help from our financial department, from Rob Roy, from Bill Steinberg, from Peter Plimpton, and certainly I would be remiss not to just, even though they've been acknowledged, this was a risk on the part of the Davis Foundation's board. There was a possibility that the investment that we were making just to get going would be lost if this project didn't move forward. And thank you to the board of the Davis Foundation, John Davis, Steve Davis, Drew Davis, Laurel Davis Ferretti, and Jane Davis Kusek, as well as the other members of the Davis family. We are so fortunate that they are risk takers and committed to children in Springfield. We also, and the Lieutenant Governor mentioned it, also competed for what's called an early education and out-of-school time grant administered by our wonderful commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Early Education and Care, Tom Weber, in collaboration with CDAC and the Children's Investment Fund, and we were successful in obtaining $1 million, as the Lieutenant Governor mentioned. And I want to again thank the commissioner, who will speak shortly, Aaron Kraft from the department, Roger Herzog, Teresa Jordan, and Bree Horowitz for all your help. We also, as the Lieutenant Governor spoke, worked with the city, with Kevin Kennedy, with Brian Connors, with Kathy, oh my God, her name just went out of my head. Kathy Breck, actually. Yes, thank you. And we will be capturing those, that mass infrastructure grant in order to work on site issues associated with this project. So that was a lot. One of the next challenges we had was we actually needed a 501c3 to have the money come in. And we had our application stuck in Washington. So we picked up our phone to the wonderful Congressman Neal and said, help, help, help. We have all this money. The donor wants to give it. We have no place to put it. And he made magic happen, and we were able to establish a 501c3 and begin to collect the resources necessary to do this project. Then we came out to the local community, and we said, we're almost there, but we need your help. And we have thus far received support from Mass Mutual, represented by Dennis Duquette, who's here somewhere. Thank you, Dennis. Dennis didn't get a chair. I guess that's the last grant we're going to get out of Mass Mutual, huh? We also got together with our fantastic partners at the Community Foundation, represented by many people in the room and their board, but specifically I want to call out Katie's Alan Zobel, who's over there, and Michelle Didimasi, I know, is there, a member of actually Springfield College's board, which we'll talk about. And I wanted to also mention that not only did we need to raise money for this building, but we understood that wonderful to have a building, but you actually have to pay for it once you build it, and you have to be able to meet the cost of having this high-quality program. So we said not only do we have to raise the money for the building, we have to raise $7 million in an endowment to place at our partner community foundation to help with operating support for the project. And we have been successful in doing that as well. Berkshire Bank has also, just last week, got a call from Berkshire Bank that they will support the project. Thank you, Gary Levante, who is here somewhere. Gary, there he is in the back. He got a seat, so we're going to get more money out of them. Gloria Gazzillo and Beth Minio and others. We also went out to some private donors whose names I won't mention to get where we are. So just to summarize, from out-of-state funders, not in the state of Massachusetts, we have received $11.9 million. From our state partners, thank you to, by the way, the Lieutenant Governor, I know, was a champion behind this from the get-go, as well as Secretary Ashland. I also want to acknowledge our Undersecretary of Education, Ann Reale, who got stuck on the turnpike but made it here. Thank you, Ann. And thank Secretary Pizer. We really appreciate his help. So $11.9 million from state funders, out-of-state funders, including the George Kaiser Foundation out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, thanks to Michael Burke and his team at the Early Learning Network. I had the pleasure of meeting George Kaiser. He just sent me a text this morning from Tulsa, Oklahoma, congratulating us. He is a champion of early education. He's a champion of Educare. He's building what number now? He's building his 4th Educare in Tulsa, correct? Just in Tulsa. Huge champion who stepped up and also helped us here, and so we hope that we'll see him at our opening in about a year. We also received, as I mentioned, thanks to Jay and all the team at Mass Development, the new market tax credits. And so we have $13 million towards our approximately $6 million. We're still doing a little bit of fundraising there, and this is not a fundraising pitch, although I might do it later. And we have $7 million to establish as an operating endowment for this project. So thank you to everyone. I'm almost done, I promise. As Representative Williams mentioned, we also had to come to the neighborhood. We had to talk to the Old Hill Neighborhood Council. Barbara Gresham, thank you very much. Thank you to the other leaders of the other neighborhood councils that we will be with. I see Sarah Page in the back. Thank you, Sarah, for helping us reach out to neighbors. We also had Melvin Edwards and Tim Allen, and I know a representative of your office, Senator Lesser, came. We knew we needed to be partners. We need to be neighbors. We needed to make sure that we had permission from them to enter this beautiful neighborhood and be a part of it. And so we did that. Also, Terry Poe, look at that beautiful school that our city has built. It is the desire of Educare's, although not everywhere, if it can happen, that you build your Educare next to an elementary school. So you send the message, Learning begins at birth, and then you move into the system. Now, these kids are going to be so smart. Well, we don't have a middle school and a high school in this neighborhood, so they're going to just go right from that elementary school right to Springfield College, our partners. While we were doing all this, of course, we had to build this building. We had to design this building. I didn't design it, you'll be happy to hear. We had tremendous architects, again, that we got in contact with through the Buffett and the Early Learning Network. RDG Planning and Design out of Omaha, Nebraska. Dan Bolt is here. Dan, somewhere. Dan has been in town, along with other Ed Buglowitz from RDG. And we also needed to have a project manager. And so we got together again with O'Connell Development Group, Andrew Christo, Paul Stelzer, Jim Sullivan, Jim Kluznik. We could not be here without all their guidance, particularly around the financing. I also want to mention Ann Condilis, who I pulled out of early retirement at MGM and said, you need to help me add all these numbers up. This is way above my pay grade. And so we had countless meetings talking about whether we could afford this project, and we're thrilled that we had all that help. And then finally, we have Western Builders. As you can see, they've started. Chris Bueno, Lynn Badgett, John Averill, and DeLynn Healy have already done a lot of work here, and we will be cooking with gas on this site very soon. This is all important. It will be a beautiful building. RDG will design a beautiful building. They have designed a beautiful building. You can see a picture of it out front. And Western Builders will build a beautiful building. But at the end of the day, what matters is what happens in this building. What matters is that we make good on our promise to the children that you were able to see today and their families and many more who will be in this building. And that is going to require that we build a Head Start. Across the nation, these are called projects that are Head Start on steroids. This is going to be Head Start on steroids, and we need to make good on our promise to educate our children, to support their families. And the way we're going to do that is certainly with Janice and her team, but also as a member of the Educare Learning Network across the nation, we will now be the benefit of all kinds of professional development, training, mentoring, and coaching, and be a part of this 25-strong network, and it's going to be right here in Springfield. And so I'd like to introduce the queen of Educare Learning Network, Carolyn Jackson, who is the executive director of the Educare Learning Network. Thank you.
Good morning. I don't know if I'm going to say the queen, but I do accept that. Today is about you all. It is not about us who showed up here in your community this morning to congratulate you on this investment in early childhood education. But I do want to say that we are so excited to be here. And I have to say, personally, I'm excited to be here because guess what? It's my first time in Springfield, Massachusetts. So, good morning. My name is Cynthia Jackson. I'm a senior vice president at the Ounce of Prevention Fund, where the very first Educare School was conceived in 2000 and opened with the desire to change the trajectory of the lives of children and families who were less advantaged than many of us here today. Never conceived that one Educare School would become a platform for change across this country. And today you all are the 24th platform for change here in Springfield, Massachusetts. So I am delighted to be here with you to break ground on Educare Springfield. And I bring greetings on behalf of our Coast to Coast coalition of educators, advocates, researchers, families, partners, community leaders to welcome you to the Educare Learning Network. We are thrilled that you all are number 24 in our dynamic network, which actually spans 15 states, now including Massachusetts and the District of Columbia. Educare Springfield will improve the lives of 141 children annually that enters its walls. Advance knowledge about what is effective in educating vulnerable young children, and drive greater demand for high-quality early programs in Springfield and beyond. At Educare, we know that everyone deserves a fair chance to achieve their dreams, and it starts by leveling the playing field from the day we are born. We do this by tirelessly promoting high-quality early childhood care and education, especially for our youngest and most vulnerable learners. Our schools serve as places of innovation and learning, and you've heard it a couple of times. This is a learning lab, right? We don't have all the answers. We are learning together. And it not only benefits those children and families we serve, but the entire field of early childhood education. And you'll continuously hear this theme over and over, that these are demonstration sites. These are lab schools. These are beacons of hope that generate outside of themselves a greater opportunity for more children and families to have a positive life trajectory. Being a part of the network, and Mary just mentioned it, means having access to ongoing learning supports for teachers, family support specialists, staff, and shared resources to engage our families, and a model for continuous improvement through the use of collecting, examining, and using data and research to improve. So it's an ongoing, continuous quality improvement atmosphere. We also believe, and I am sitting here today, and I am just amazed, and I am just grateful for the robust partnership that exists here in Springfield, Massachusetts. And that is part of the plan of Educare, to have robust partnerships. And our partnership with the Buffett Early Childhood Fund, and Mary already introduced my colleague and my partner, Mike Burke, I'll do it again, at the Buffett Early Childhood Fund. If not for the partnership between the Ounce of Prevention with the first Educare, Susie Buffett, and the Buffett Foundation for investing in the second one, and the story goes on, but continuously pulling together all of these schools to learn together as a network, we would not be here without that strong partnership. And so when I hear about the partnership that you guys have put together, and all the people that are present here today, this is the only way to get this done. So thank you all for that commitment. I definitely, I have a long list of folks to thank. I'm cutting that, right? Because everybody's thanking everybody, which is today is a day to be thankful. But I do want to just thank our tremendous partners here, including the Irene E. and George A. Davis Foundation, Holyoke Chicopee Springfield Headstart Incorporated, and Janice Santos, who, when I walked up today, you guys, said, "This is a dream come true." After 45 years in Head Start, she says, "This is a dream come true." Thank you, Janice. It is a dream come true. And of course, Springfield College, where we are right here on their property. So it's been a long journey, hasn't it? How long has it been? 2015, I heard 7 years, I heard 5 years. I'll tell you, last night, my team and I were at dinner, and I was saying, so how many years have we been working with Springfield, Massachusetts? So the story goes that this is a long journey, and it takes incredible investment of resources, time, people, commitment to make something like this come true. And so 7 years is about the time. We work with communities all over the country, and it just takes a long time for this to materialize. And when you talk about the starts and the stops of this thing, like we thought we could do it, no, we can't do it, it's too expensive. There is nothing too expensive for our children here in America, right? But you just got to keep pushing, and you just got to drive that stake in the ground, which is what I also heard today. Our former First Lady, Michelle Obama, has said, don't ever underestimate the importance you can have, because history has shown us that courage can be contagious and hope can take on a life of its own. This is the hope here, because Educares are beacons of hope. The partners in this community have come together to acknowledge that the challenges that our young children face should not affect the quality of their futures. And together, you all have imagined a brighter future for these children, starting with high-quality early childhood. So on behalf of the Educare Learning Network, thank you all for making this school a reality. We know that the work you will do here in Springfield, Massachusetts, will inspire other communities across the country to do what is best and right for our young children and families. So, if you could bear with me a minute. This is off script. My staff's like, what she's ready to do? Oh no. Don't say oh no, it's okay. So, the mayor said, right, this is a winning opportunity. So what I'd like you all to do is say, winning. Thank you very much.
Okay, I know you'd find this hard to believe, but I forgot a couple people. Just a quick shout out to Strategies for Children, our policy partners in the Boston area, who might not even remember this, but they introduced me to Michael Burke. Michael Burke, that was your maybe unlucky day, I'm not sure, but thank you, Strategies for Children, thank you. And I also want to acknowledge Florence Bank, who has provided some financing if we need it as we sort of get this building up and all the money in. So Hank Downey is here somewhere, probably standing way in the back. Thanks, Hank. Okay, so Holyoke, Chicopee, Springfield, Headstart. I don't know if it's been clear, but you cannot develop an Educare in any part of the country if you don't have a partnership with your local Headstart. So if your local Headstart says, nah, we're not interested, that's it. That is it. You can have all the money in the world. That is it. And so when we realized this looked like it might actually happen, I called up this lovely lady who's going to speak in a second, who you've all heard so much about, and said, you want to have a meeting? And I think she had no idea what I wanted to come for. And frankly, she'd never asked Davis for funding, so it wasn't that she was asking for funding. And I went and I said, so I got this idea. What do you think? And here's what she said to me. Mary, I'm a risk taker. I take risks. If it weren't for taking risks, we wouldn't be where we are as an organization, which now serves, Janice, well over 11,000 children in our region. And so she said, sure, I'll sign on. What she didn't tell me was right after I left, she has this motto too, trust but verify. She picked up the phone to all her friends in Educare Headstarts across the country and said, what is this person talking about, and should I do anything? And you can tell the story of what they had to say, Janice.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. Yes, it is. Mary said she's nervous. I'm nervous, excited, and emotional, so bear with me. So it is indeed an exciting day for all of us here. And first, I do want to thank Lieutenant Governor Pulido for being here with us today, and for you and Governor Baker for being champions of early childhood. We really appreciate it so much. I was so proud of our children this morning. They did a great job, didn't they? So I actually started my career as a Head Start teacher in Ludlow, Massachusetts, where I live, opening the first Head Start. And so in my heart, I'll always be a preschool teacher. And I love being with the children, and it's just amazing the accomplishments that we've made with our children and families. So there are so many people to thank for this wonderful opportunity for our Head Start children and families here in the city of Springfield. But I want to give a special thank you to the Davis Foundation and for Mary Wallachy, who has done so much work in this project. Mary and I have become good friends in the last 2 years. We've been spending a lot of time together. So with that, and also to Educare for trusting me and supporting me in this project. Thank you very much. So, planning for Educare began over 2 years ago, and it's been an incredible amount of work. However, with determination and support of community and neighborhood leaders, it's a reality today. And for me, it's finally here after a long time coming and a lot of work. And as Mary said, I did call my colleagues who are Educare directors across the country. And what they said was, it's a heck of a lot of work, but in the end, it's all worth it. And I know that certainly it will be. Our Headstart children will be in a state-of-the-art facility with the highest quality of early childhood education. For me, as an early childhood educator for over 40 years, it is like a dream come true. And so with that, I want to thank everybody involved. Thank you so much for all of your support and for being here today for this exciting moment for Headstart and for everyone involved. So I'm going to acknowledge some support of community and neighborhood leaders and some of our elected officials. Certainly Congressman Richard Neal, who's been a strong supporter of Headstart and this project over the years. To our state representatives, Bud L. Williams, a longtime friend and supporter of our Headstart program, Angelo Pulido, Carlos Gonzalez, Jose Tostado, and to our senators, Jim Welsh and Eric Lesser. Thank you so much. We did quite well in early childhood education in our state. That was great. Thank you. So to the Old Hill Neighborhood Council, the Upper Hill Neighborhood Council, Maple High Six Corners Neighborhood Council, thank you so much for your support and being there for us and supporting us. So today I'm very proud to say that we have 2 members of our federal Headstart office in Boston who have always been supportive of me. I might be on occasion the problem child of Headstart, but they're always there to support me. So I want to introduce Donna Brown, Wanda Carasquilla. It's very important to me that you're here today, so thank you so much. So I also would like to thank members of our Headstart Board of Directors. Our chairperson is here, Susan Goslin. Thank you for supporting this. Our Board of Directors did not hesitate. They voted unanimously to move forward with the Educare project. Also, I want to thank my staff for their commitment to the Educare. It's been a long road and it's been a lot of time and effort, but again, it's been well spent, and we know that it will be an absolutely beautiful building and it'll be all worth it, as my colleagues in Educare said. I also would like to acknowledge Anat Weisenfing, who is here. Anat is Headstart Director of the Northampton Greenfield Headstart, but also serves as the chairperson of our Headstart, Massachusetts Headstart Association. Anat. Thank you. We do serve over 15,000 children in Massachusetts in Headstart. And also to my good friend, Commissioner Weber, thank you so much for being such a strong supporter. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Janice, and again to the team at Headstart, to Maria, to Nicole, to Janet, to Lori, to everybody. We've had countless hours of meetings. I can't even begin to tell you, and including our friends from the Springfield Public Schools. Pat sat through a lot of meetings, and we really appreciate it. I want to acknowledge we actually have guests from out of state beyond the Educare Learning Network people. We actually have representatives from the only other Educare in New England, Educare Maid, Jim Clare, and Lisa Haley. Thank you for coming. We went up to Maine early in our discovery and visited and met with Lisa and met with Kathy Coffer, and it just further sealed the deal that this is something we need to do. I'd like to introduce our representative from Springfield College. Mary Beth Cooper is in Ireland. I offered to take her place. Somehow she said no. But a quick story, and I know we're really is a long program. Clearly you can't build a building if you don't have land. And Educare said to us, we would like you to have it next to a school. And so we sat down with Pat Sullivan. I don't know if Pat's here, with a big map, and Jack Dill was in the room, and we were looking around, and lo and behold, there's a school. And here's some land. And oh, by the way, it's owned by Springfield College. So John Davis and I called up Mary Beth and said, can we come visit? She, of course, said sure. And I don't know what she thought we were coming for, but it might have been we had given them a grant or something. And we walk in, and there's all these people. And I'm like, oh, I don't think this is going to go well. And she started chatting, as she does, and she's just such a delightful person, as is their whole team. And all of a sudden we realize we're not on the same page here. She thinks we're here for this. We're here for this. So finally, I think John said, well, actually, that's not what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the fact that we need some land to build this school. And you, by the way, happen to own it. And she said, yeah, we do. She said, and we paid a lot of money for it. And then she said, and how much would you like to pay for it? And John and I lowered our heads and said, nothing. She said, really? And we said, yes. She says, well, I'm going to have to talk to our board about that. Well, here we are. Springfield College made it happen. This land has been provided by Springfield College and its board. Thank you, Mary Beth, and everyone at Springfield College. And then, sort of to throw a little salt on the wound, our architect said, that's really probably not enough land. You need a little more. And Springfield Housing Authority had 2 plots, which I guess are right here now, also damaged in the tornado. And we called up Hank Abrashkin and said, Hank, could we have that land too? And Hank was able to put out an RFP, and Springfield College responded, and they actually paid for that land and gave that to the project as well. So thank you, Housing Authority. Thank you, Springfield College. And now I want to introduce Calvin Hill from Springfield College to say some words on behalf of the college, and certainly from Mary Beth Cooper.
She didn't ask me to go to Ireland either, so we're in good shape. So I've been talking about Educare for a while, and I always share with people that we had the easy part of the partnership. We had land, so that is always a good thing. So good morning, and congratulations, Educare Springfield. On behalf of your partner and your new neighbor, Springfield College. My name is Calvin Hill, and I serve as the Vice President for Inclusion and Community Engagement at the college. And again, let me share regrets that Springfield College President Mary Beth Cooper could not be here this morning. Now, after speaking with her, she did want me to share our excitement, as well as our board's excitement. As a matter of fact, I know that we have some members of our board here. If you could stand and say hello for me, that would be great. Thank you. They indeed did have to vote on this project, so thank you. But we also have our administration, faculty, staff, and students that are happy about this wonderful partnership. So many of you might be asking, how is this a partnership for Springfield College? Well, let me share with you that our students and our educators at the college will be able to utilize Educare to support training, research, professional development, and so much more. Therefore, this innovative partnership is here, and we welcome you to this community and as a part of our campus. This Educare corridor, where you've got Brookings, you've got Springfield College, and now Educare, is something to behold. Now, as a matter of fact, as Mary shared with us, and as I believe the mayor spoke about, it is my belief that just in about 15 to 20 years, we're going to be welcoming many of these young people to Springfield College. So we look forward to your continued success, and we look forward to welcoming them to Springfield College here shortly. Now, a special note of gratitude and thank you to the Davis Foundation and Mary Wallachy. Thank you so much for coming to the office and speaking to Mary Beth. The Holyoke, Chicopee, Springfield, Headstart, and Janice, thank you so much for all of your wonderful work. And for all of those that are part of this Educare Learning Network, thank you. Therefore, on behalf of Springfield College and leadership and service, we thank you, and again, congratulations to this amazing new Educare Springfield site. Thank you.
And before I forget, just to thank you, it's Springfield College that got us the shuttles. It's Springfield College that got us the parking. It's Springfield College that will hold the reception after, and we really need all of you to come. We hope you will. You can walk or you can take the shuttle. Chris Nerona, Kathy Healy, Catherine Smith, Karen Healy, excuse me, Greg Walters, Steve Rulier, and also the team from Paul Robbins Associates to help with all the communication. Another speaker, but an important one. This program would not also be possible if we didn't have the leadership at our state level with our commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Early Education and Care. Spirit of full disclosure, I am on the board of the Department of Early Education and Care, but I didn't use any pull to get him here or to get any money. Commissioner.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Mary. I appreciate being here this morning. This is the point of the program in which everything has been said, and it's been said quite well, just not by everybody. So I will try to make my remarks as short as possible. I want to start by thanking Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Pulido and the legislature, represented here by the Springfield delegation, but inclusive of the legislative leadership. Without their leadership and without their support, it wouldn't be possible for the department to work closely with CDAC, our essential partner, in facilitating the early education out-of-school time quality grant to support capital improvements across the Commonwealth in early education and care programs. Facilities really do matter. It really matters. They are essential for being able to facilitate developmentally appropriate practice. They're essential to high quality, and this grant has made that possible at countless programs and has served as a catalyst for the investment of millions of private dollars. So this relatively modest grant of $1 million, as Mary pointed out earlier, has led to a multiplying effect across philanthropic and private investment to make this project possible. I want to thank the City of Springfield, Mayor Sarno, and other members of the City Council and School Committee who are represented here today. Springfield has been an absolutely wonderful and unique partner in this state. It's been a leader in early education now for really 2 decades. When we think about where things are working and working well, we often think about this city, and that's due to the local leadership. Essential to that has been the Davis Family Foundation. There are all sorts of reasons for people to get out of the work of early education and care. We see these wonderful, beautiful children here this morning, and you think, who could resist that? It's extraordinarily difficult to do. It's extraordinarily difficult to do. And the Davis Foundation has been really remarkable and quite unique. I sit in a seat that allows me to see the expanse of the state and everybody that's working on these issues. And I can tell you that nobody has been as devoted to promoting the access and high quality that we still need better than the Davis Foundation. And I want to thank John and Steve for their work in that. Mary Wallachy is on the Board of Early Education and Care, and so I work for Mary, among other board members. Mary is a treasure, I have to tell you. She has a habit of introducing her questions, usually by saying, "This may be a dumb question." And then she asks a question that is absolutely fundamental and essential. And usually at the root of that question is this: what is this going to mean for providers? What is this going to mean for the people who are actually working with children each and every day? And how is this going to support them, or how is this going to hinder them? And I'm so grateful to you, Mary, for being on the board and asking those questions, because it has made us a better, stronger Department of Early Education and Care. I want to ask members of the EEC team who are here to stand up if they would. I know that there's a group of you. Don't hesitate. Come on, step up for just a second. These are the folks that undertake the work each and every day to work with providers. They are the names and the faces that our program directors and our early educators know. They are fundamental to the work of the Commonwealth in supporting high-quality early education and care. I'm grateful for you. Without them, this project would not have been possible. There are people who are not here today who have worked on the fiscal side of this project, and they've been essential to all of this. 2018 marked the 25th anniversary of the Education Reform Act of 1993. That act was absolutely pivotal in launching Massachusetts as the state that now has the well-deserved reputation of being the strongest education state in the country. On almost all national benchmarks and international benchmarks, Massachusetts is at the top or near the top. And yet, and this is incredibly important to recognize, we have achievement gaps that are just as great, if not greater, than any other state in the country. There's so much more work to be done. And the reason why 25 years after the launch of that act, we're able to say that we've made such great progress is because we've consistently affirmed and recommitted ourselves to trying to get to those children who we have yet to reach. That has been absolutely essential. It has required that affirmation, and it has required boldness. And what was referred to earlier, in quoting Janice, risk-taking. We have to take risks. It is worth taking risks. If the solutions were obvious to us, we would have solved these problems already. So we have to be daring. And in 25 years, when we look back at this moment, what we're going to ask ourselves is, were we willing to take the bold step to modernize our education system in a way that fully recognizes high-quality early education and care as being fundamental to an education system? And what we're seeing here today is one of the important steps that needs to be taken to ensure that that affirmation does take place and that we're able to say that in 25 years. If we're going to be at the top or near the top in 25 years, we must be recognized as having been at the forefront of the provision of high-quality early education and care. In order to accomplish all of that, it requires partnerships. It's inherent within early education and care that there must be partnerships. It's a complicated area of work. It's federal, it's state, it's local. The regulations cut across all of that. The funding streams cut across all of that. It requires a level of creativity. It requires creative partnership. And so to that, I have to thank Educare for making the bet on Springfield. I'm going to tell you right now, you have made the right bet. You've made the right bet. There is no community in this Commonwealth who is ready to accept this challenge like Springfield. And the Commonwealth is a partner with the city. We look forward to what is going to happen here. We've got to take the risks. This is an experiment that is going to inform our policy work across the state. So welcome to Springfield Educare. Thank you all for what you have done to make this possible. It has been a team lift. And as was pointed out earlier, what's important is that we're going to realize the potential of this project. What we saw at the very beginning of this program was a joyful moment for all of us, right? To sit there and to experience the joy of young children singing. But it was more than just being cute. What was happening there is quite consequential. What those children were showing you was that they are developing socially and emotionally, the ability to interact with their peers, their ability to interact with adults. Those children who are on the cusp of entering our public schools are going to enter school ready and prepared to succeed. Our ability to reach those children is essential to closing the achievement gaps that I noted earlier. It's essential to Massachusetts being able to say proudly that we value education. And so thank you for allowing us to take another step forward today. It's been my privilege to be a very, very small part in all of this. Thank you.
Before I introduce our final speaker, I just want to remind that the speakers that have been a part of the program and some others, Roger Herzog, Bob Rizzo, Secretary Ash, if you could quickly afterwards go up and grab a shovel because we're going to make you dig some dirt and we'd like to take some photos. So thank you for that. This is a wonderful young woman that we're going to hear from now, and I to talk about what Head Start has meant for her and her family, and its attorney, Tichina, I just don't want to mess up your name, Tichina Davis, who grew up on this street in Springfield. She's an attorney in the city of Springfield, as the mayor mentioned. She has a wonderful son who's entering first grade, and she's now a member of, and he was an early Head Start kid. Yes. Can we say kid? Is that okay? And now she is on the Policy Council for Head Start and a member of the Board of Directors, and we really appreciate your taking the time to be with us and close us.
Good morning, everyone. I will be brief because I'm very nervous. So, words cannot express the amount of gratitude felt for being given peace of mind. I was a struggling law student when my son Noah was born. I was not only struggling financially, but internally, as Noah was born with developmental delays that made walking and talking a challenge for him. I needed care for my son that provided peace of mind for myself, and that included a strong element of education for him. I was fortunate enough to find the Head Start program. I was skeptical at first, as no one can teach my son as well as I can. But that skepticism quickly turned to gratitude. My FSC, Justine, helped to calm my nerves by allowing me to watch the classroom through a window, and his teachers, Miss Madeline and Miss Jaitza, showed me each morning that they cared for Noah and his well-being. I was watching my son flourish more and more each day. Without even realizing it, I was finally able to focus on my reading assignments and studying for exams instead of constantly worrying about my son. Before I knew it, I was being asked to run for the Parent Policy Council and becoming more involved with the Head Start program than I'd anticipated. It was the peace of mind provided by Head Start that allowed me to focus, graduate law school, and to study and pass the Massachusetts bar exam. However, my gratefulness extends beyond the benefits given to myself and my son Noah. I grew up on Hickory Street. I played at Harriet Tubman Park, and I caught the school bus at the Waterfront Club. In 2011, a tornado ravaged the projects I grew up in, making them unrecognizable to someone who lived in them for 20 years and devastating in an already struggling area. I am grateful that my childhood neighborhood is being revitalized in such a positive, impactful way. I would like to thank the Davis Foundation, Educare, Springfield College, Mayor Sarno and the City of Springfield, and all others involved in educating a new generation of youth in Springfield and giving a new group of parents peace of mind to work on themselves and accomplish their personal goals. I would also like to thank Janice Santos and all of the staff of the HCS Head Start that gave Noah such a strong educational foundation and a lawyer for a mommy. Thank you.
Everybody lift on 3, we'll throw it, okay?
Where we throw it? That
So
way?
everybody going this way. Unless you can throw it over your head, Miss Jackson. It's pretty good. Ready on 3. 1, 2, 3. Educare.